You have probably came across websites like this. Wonder how they are even built. 3D scroll effects, premium components, liquid glass effects, data visualizations, shaders, animation that looks like they cost 10 grand. And what if I tell you every single one of them is a free website? If you write code, you probably assume this might take years of design skill that you don't have, but it doesn't require this much of skill. So copy the component you like, paste the code into your AI editor, and done. So in this video, I'll show you 8 websites where you can grab all these for free, plus real example from famous websites, so you can drop them into your project without the copy-paste AI loop. Okay, so the first tool on the list is called Coconut UI. If you click on the browse components, you will see the full list of available designs that you can just copy-paste right into your projects. What I really love about this website is that the quality of the components is genuinely insane. As you can see, the attention to detail is huge. Every component is animated. If you refresh, you can see this nice appear animation. And this is exactly the type of component that will make a real difference in your projects. The kind that completely removes the AI slop look. Because the designer clearly spent a lot of time building this, and the AI can't replicate these type of components on its own. At least not yet. One of my favorite is the liquid glass code component, because the liquid glass is now everywhere in every product. Since Apple introduced the liquid glass effect back in 2026, so it's super trendy right now. And people constantly use it in their products. For example, I have created another website, and this another way helps you discover what's new in AI through practical tutorials, tools, comparisons, and real-world use cases, so that you can learn faster with clear and useful content that's designed to turn the latest AI developments into the things that you can actually use. In the same websites, I have used the glass morphism. You can just go and check it out how it is, and you can also provide me a feedback in the comment section below so that I can improve my site. This is the kind of effect we are going for right here. That's the glass effect. And you can actually take it further and ask the AI to study how this component was built. Then create your own component in the same style. Since you guys might have a strong design visions, you can actually work on them and you can get creative with it. I'll drop the site URL in the description and comment section below. Please check it out. Next up, we have React Bits. This is a really useful resource, especially because so many modern websites and products are being built with React. And what makes it even better is that the AI coding tools understand React extremely well. So using these components in your own projects is pretty straightforward. If we jump into the showcase, you can see some of the designs people have already created. These aren't just visual mockups, they are fully interactive components built with actual code. And that's important because you are not loading a heavy video just to create an effect. The animation is happening directly in the interface. React Bits give you more than 130 components to choose from. And if you don't want to manually edit the code, there is a visual builder where you can customize a component and see the changes instantly. Once you find something like this, you can take it over to the cursor, Claude, Codex, or whichever the coding assistants you use, and ask it to integrate the component into your project. For example, look at the sites like Stripe. You'll often see these polished animated backgrounds and interactive effects built using React. React Bits gives you an easy way to bring the same kind of visual experience to your own projects. Next on the list is Blocklit UI or Blick UI. I'm not completely sure how they pronounce it, but if you're building dashboards or anything involving data visualization, this one is definitely worth checking out. Open the component section, you'll find a massive collection, especially when it comes to the charts. So imagine you are building an analytics platform. You got detailed graphs, funnel charts, heat maps, line charts, and plenty of other visualization options ready to use. Some of these components are incredibly detailed too. Basically, you already have most of the building blocks that you need to create an analytics dashboard. So if you run a business and want one place to track and visualize your numbers, this library could save you a lot of development time, and it's actually free. You can open a component in V0, customize it, and then use something like Claude Code or Codex to integrate it into your actual product. I think it's definitely one to be bookmarked. Next is Limura. Let me quickly log in and show you how it works. The idea is pretty simple. You start by creating a project, setting up a brand kit. Instead of entering everything manually, you can simply paste your website URL. Limura then analyzes the sites and pulls things like your brand colors, typography, and overall brand voice. After that, you head over to the generate assets. Let's say I need a background image. I select the asset, choose the visual style I'm looking for, adjust the settings. If I want something specific, I can add my own prompt. Then I hit generate. And now I got hero image that designed around the brand. The interesting thing about Limura is that it's specially built for designers. There are 14 different asset types designed for the projects like websites, apps, mobile products, including things like OG images. More importantly, the assets stay visually consistent with your brand. For example, these icons I generated for one of my projects all follow the same color palette and visual direction. That's a big deal for AI generated assets because if every image has a completely different style, the final website can quickly start looking inconsistent. So next up is Anime.js. So instead of explaining too much, just look at what happens when I scroll to this website. It's the kind of animation that Anime.js can help you create. It's actually being used on the award-winning website, and once you see the experience, it's pretty easy to understand why the site receives so much attention. The scrolling effects are alone completely change how the website feels. And apparently you can recreate this kind of experience using the Anime.js. So getting started is simple. There's basically one installation command, copy it, paste it into your terminal, and from there you can work with Claude to start building similar animations. So if your website feels a little too static, this is definitely something worth experimenting with. So next we have the motion.dev. If you are interested in website animation, you're probably going to like this one. There's now an AI kit section that essentially helps you turn your AI coding agent into the motion specialist. And some of the things people are creating with it are seriously impressive. Take a look at this footer, for example. It was built using the motion and it's completely different from the usual footer you can see on the most websites. It's interactive, polished, and immediately makes the page feel more premium. Here's another website created with the motion. And looking at something like this, I honestly think it would have been much harder to get Claude or reproduce the same quality without giving it right animation and tools and context. So motion is another resource I would definitely experiment with. If you try it, let me know what you think in the comments. The next on the list is called Rive. This one is slightly different from the previous tools because as far I know, AI integration isn't quite there yet, so you'll need to spend a little more time learning it. The editor itself is somewhat similar to like Figma. Rive also has a dedicated learn section with plenty of tutorials and resources. If you already work with Figma, Canva or any other visual details, the interface shouldn't feel completely unfamiliar. But here's why learning Rive can be worth it. Look at the type of interactive animation you can create. Figma, for example, uses Rive animations directly on its home pages. And these aren't just basic transitions. You can actually build a detailed interactive experience that makes a website feels completely different. If you can create experiences like this, instead of delivering another static website, you can potentially offer something much more premium. So Rive is definitely one I would consider learning properly. And finally, we have the Magic UI. This is one of the more recognizable component libraries on the list. The flow is straightforward. Find a component you like, copy the code, and then ask the Claude or any other coding agent to integrate it with your website or the application. One component you have probably seen before is this globe. It appears in a lot of modern landing pages. If it is used correctly, it can still look great. For example, imagine putting it inside a bento grid section where you are explaining that your Codex works across different countries or support different languages. So instead of explaining with a plain text, the globe gives you a much more stronger visualization. And Magic UI has plenty of components like this that can instantly make a basic layout feels more polished. They also have a MCP support, which makes the workflow much easier. So instead of manually browsing the library, copying individual components and telling the Claude exactly what everything you should do, you can just connect the library and let your coding agent work with the components directly. So you could ask it to improve the feature section and it can decide that the globe works here. And then maybe add something like a tweet or something else. That means even if you don't have much design experience, you can still give your AI coding tools access to a library of polished components and let them help with the implementation. And I think that's the full list. If you are vibe coding websites or apps, these tools can help you go from basic AI generated interfaces to something that feels much more polished and intentional. If you want me to make another video covering more tools like this, let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching.